Around the world, malaria causes more than 1 million deaths annually. 90% of these deaths are in sub-Saharan Africa. Malaria is preventable and treatable. However, the disease is a major public health threat in many developing countries. For approximately 40 years, the Walter Reed Project has been conducting studies to develop better options for diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of tropical diseases. The Walter Reed Project in the Eastern African country of Kenya is a joint partnership between the United States, Walter Reed Army Institute of Research, and the Kenya Medical Research Institute.
Ishmael Murithi was the Kenyan and Bruce Weldy was the American that met about 40 years ago and then actually started the program here. It was originally trypanosomiasis research that migrated to malaria.
Dr. Mark Polemis is the director of the Murithi Weldy Clinical Research Center, which is part of the Walter Reed Project, headquartered in Kisumu, the third largest city in Kenya. It includes the New Nyanza Provincial General Hospital, biomedical research laboratories, and the Center for Excellence in Malaria Microscopy. The Clinical Research Center is located outside Kisumu at the Kombewa Field Station.
There's two sides of our compound. That's the administrative side, right, where we have large briefing rooms for the consenting process. We have a library upstairs. We have offices. We have a stores area. We have a canteen in the center. That's this building here. These are those individual consenting rooms. We have two data entry rooms. We have our wall of record. You can see
Dr. Polemis says everyday volunteers come to the Clinical Research Center to participate in different studies. He says the number of volunteers seen per day depends on the study. The research center is capable of conducting regulated clinical trials to evaluate vaccines, drugs, or diagnostic platforms for a variety of diseases found in sub-Saharan Africa. However, it was initially developed for the study of malaria vaccines and drugs. Fighting malaria must be done through a comprehensive approach. Effective prevention is key, proper diagnosis is essential, and adequate treatment is most definitely important. All of this is being addressed in this research center.
And this area has been involved in malaria since really the late 1980s is when a guy by the name of Chuck Oster, infectious disease doctor by the name of Chuck Oster, first came out here to Kisumu and then west to Saradidi to start studying malaria.
Toward the goal of preventing malaria, researchers at the Walter Reed Project have been working to develop a vaccine. A vaccine is a substance that causes the immune system to develop responses that protect against a specific disease. Experts say many factors make malaria vaccine development difficult and challenging, including the size and genetic complexity of the parasite, which means that each infection presents thousands of antigens to the human immune system. The parasite changes through several life stages. And finally, it is possible to have multiple malaria infections of different strains at the same time. Since 1990, the Walter Reed Project has conducted 6 malaria vaccine trials for different potential vaccines. Some failed to provide meaningful protection. This was the case for the RTSS vaccine when the first trial was conducted in 1992 at the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research in the United States. However, continued research over the years has produced more hopeful results. Dr. John Waitumbi is the research director of the Walter Reed Project.
The most promising vaccine is the RTSS, as you said, which has been tested many times in Africa. I think the recent very successful test was in Mozambique, where about 60% protection against clinical disease has been found. And we also have tested it here in Kisumu.
The Walter Reed Project in Kenya, Walter Reed Army Institute of Research in the United States, GlaxoSmithKline, and the United States Agency for International Development continue to develop and test potential improvements to the RTSS malaria vaccine at clinical trial centers in the United States and Kenya. As a result of these efforts, the new version, RTSS-AS01, will enter registration licensure trials in 2008.
We're going to launch the RTSS vaccine, what's called the phase 3 vaccine. Is a huge study involving, very many. The children will be carried out in many sites, our site being one. And so this is a vaccine that is hoped in very near future actually will be in a bottle. So I think people are very upbeat about it and really looking for something at least to show that a vaccine against malaria can be made and can work.
Regarding malaria treatment, traditionally, chloroquine and other quinine drugs have been used for the prevention and treatment of malaria. However, the mosquito's resistance to chloroquine has been increasingly problematic around the world, including in sub-Saharan Africa. Recently, the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research developed a new medicine known as artesunate for life-threatening malaria. Artesunate is now in registration trials at the Walter Reed Project in Kenya in partnership with the Kenya Medical Research Institute as well as at other locations. In the United States, artesunate has been made available for seriously ill patients through the U.S. Centers for Disease Control Emergency Treatment Stockpile on a compassionate use basis.